What is a small, dark place?
A small dark place is...
A small dark place.
You're not talking about the script now, are you?
Everyone's place where they want to hide when they're scared, but also somewhere where your fears are hidden as well.
I'm trying not to think too literally about it, I suppose.
Small dark place. I guess your mind. How about that?
A small dark place is actually somewhere where Tim escapes to. That could be in his head or a physical place. But it's actually something I really want the audience to think about while they're watching the film.
What we saw in Susie's script was a bit of a kind of rough diamond, so there was something there that we sort of fell in love with, but we knew it wasn't quite at the stage we wanted it yet. I think this film very much has a story to tell. It has a very interesting protagonist who is basically being tricked by people who don't have his best interest in mind, and he's a very naive character, and it's sort of not a coming of age, but it's certainly someone who's having to face the truth of what people around him are doing to him.
Are you okay?
Of course I'm okay.
It's about a character called Tim who sort of suffers from acute agoraphobia, and he's faced with the reality that he may be someone he didn't realise he was. So it's about his discovery as to whether he's the person he thought he was or he's someone else entirely. The project came about from a desire to make something exciting that would involve and entertain people, take them on a journey.
We shortlisted the scripts, and actually what we didn't realise was that Susie had submitted her script anonymously, and it was a unanimous decision that actually her script was the strongest. We developed the Small Dark Places script together, Susie the writer, Cindy Hanson the script editor, and myself to begin with. We met quite frequently and sort of discussed the changes that we thought would be strengthening the script. And then later on in the process, Ruth Caleb, our exec producer, came on board and also offered up suggestions.
Susie had written it and was going to direct it. So she was very much a sort of authorial voice. And that's another thing that you're always looking for, people who have a voice, who have something sort of fresh to say. And just hearing the way that Susie spoke, reading the script, hearing her enthusiasm, hearing what she felt sort of underpinned it all, that made me feel that here was someone that one very much wanted to take a risk on.
It got tough sometimes, just balancing my job, and it would be sort of getting up at 5:30 in the morning and coming in and maybe doing a couple of hours work, so organising things, and then do my day job, perhaps be an hour at lunch kind of having a meeting, and then in the evening again sort of meeting up with everyone. We were constantly looking for a location and just keeping the kind of buzz up about it, and everyone was involved obviously because they're all so busy with their own lives.
The director of photography is generally called the chief technician on set, and they will be responsible for the lighting and the look of the film, and trying to translate what the director is looking for the end result on the film. You have a visual idea of what the sense of the place will be like, and what sort of colours and textures. And obviously once you're looking at actual locations, it's how we can really get the best out of exteriors, interiors, and then your additional input with lighting. It's a big creative process in the sense that you're the right-hand man to the director, and the production designer will be the left-hand man.
No, they most probably don't have it in the two hiring.
Ideally, you would just build the place and just do everything from scratch, but that's not the reality. So you just work with what you have, and I think it brings challenges actually. It wasn't easy to design around the location. Even you basically forget your initial image of what it should look like. You work with what you've got. You have to be peculiar, because then in the end it's something that gets seen quite a lot, and so you constantly juggle things in your mind. So where shall I actually, the little money that I'm being given for designing the film, where do you pour it? What's worth spending money on and what isn't?
There's a lot of work involved in it. We go through all of the scripts and all the things that we need, make lists, go around the prop houses, try and find those things. We had to get some fake glass for the martini glasses, so we had to travel to Shepperton Studios, and also making a few things as well, like the curtains, the nets. It's just trying to get everything that we need.
Tim is an agoraphobic. He doesn't like to go outside, and he's been stuck in this house for a long time. One of the few people that ever gave him love is Lady Welling, whose house it is. He is married to a very understanding woman called Christine.
She seems very lovely and loving and supportive and encouraging to Tim, and understanding of his difficulties and issues, and she seems very, loving towards him, but then you find out that she's not all she seems to be. So she's quite a fun character to play.
Simon.
Well, we had a 5-day shoot, and even though it seems quite a long time for the length of film that we've made, it still meant that we had to have quite a lot of, it meant that everyone was on time pressure. So on set, I actually had to make sure that there wasn't any sort of lingering moments, and also putting a bit more pressure on the director to make sure that she doesn't spend too much time on particular scenes, and the shot list that she's started the day with, that she's actually getting them and then moving on.
There have been sort of people coming and going, and it's quite a small scale production. But sorting out equipment, making sure we're all crewed up, checking people's availability, finding out about equipment, what equipment we can use, trying to get the best deal, finding location, bargaining. A lot of kind of producing and line producing is about budgeting and trying to get things for as little money as possible. When it's the shoot, when that's all happening and that's live, then you're handing that over to the AD. They really run the show on the day.
Okay guys, nice and quiet for rehearsal then, thank you.
Creating the schedule for Small Dark Place has actually been one of the most interesting challenges. I've never had to schedule anything before, not really. Outside again of like films I used to do at uni and stuff, but not sort of properly. So that has been a challenge, breaking down the script. We're at an advantage at least because everything takes place in one location and there are fairly limited actors. But what I've been having to do is obviously outside of kind of my day job. What was great was to be able to go on the recce and then speak to people and already get some feedback there, right? Like, okay, these are the kind of things I've got to factor in. There's always that sense of compromise. And there needs to be a bit of give and take from crew as well, because, as much as I've tried to sort of help out on the schedule so far with some things, I fear we may come to a point shortly before shooting when, there needs to be some sacrifices made, perhaps some other departments. But obviously I will try to, as desperately much as I can, accommodate as much people as I can in the schedule.